Welcome in, race fans, to another edition of In the Dirt. My apologies if you were looking for one last week. I just didn't have the dang old time to do it. Was on the Dirt on Dirt pay-per-view crew covering the races at Volusia, which is an awesome racetrack, provided with 6 nights of great racing there between the open-wheel cars, the late models, and then the big block modifieds. And the big block modifieds, if you haven't got a chance to see these guys in person, I've never, outside of, maybe going to a NASCAR race or two, never, they are very loud, and they rumble the ground, and they're just, neat to watch, I think, but teaches. I heard some people complain they didn't like them, but I liked them. The Northeast loves them. They're all around the Northeast. Well, a few things happened. Speed Weeks, of course, in the books now. Donnie Moran picks up a win at Waycross. That was kind of out of nowhere. We saw... we'll bring Brian on here in a minute and we'll talk a little bit about it. But with Josh Richards being back for now in the Rocket House car and provides a serious challenge to Darrell Lanigan, if he's here all year, Volusia is the prelude to what I think will be one of the most interesting and competitive seasons in the World of Outlaws, especially since McCreadie also was showing some really, really strong signs of running up front. Maybe him and the Warrior are finally coming together, but without
Webb Dillard. What's up, my man?
I am first and foremost glad to be back at the home studio. No more road shows for a while.
Well, that was making it a little difficult to even have a show being on the road, especially when you don't have internet service or time to even get on the internet.
Well, we had the time. We had the time most weeks when I was out on the road. And we made time by stopping at Buffalo Wild Wings and different places. And we did, and I even did one of the Neesmith shows from the house, from my dad's place. But the thing that made it difficult at the pay-per-view week was I had to do other things. I was there with Dirt on Dirt, so I was taking my direction from Michael Rigsby, and whatever needs the show needed. I had to go. I went up and set up cameras on turn one, or help Derek Kessinger do this or that. So it really would have been a rush, and it was almost better to cancel that show last week than it was to try to just throw one together, because I think it would have showed. Because I'd really
You correct me if I'm wrong. I'll give you my rundown of what I kind of think may have happened, because I've kind of been in your position before. Let's say at the beginning of Speed Weeks, the beginning of winter, you go out west and everything's great and you're on the road and you're having fun, and then 3, 4, 5 weeks into it, things start to change a little bit, right?
Well, I will say that the fun meter peg probably pegged out, topped out two weeks ago probably. But it's like anything else, and you know how it goes. Once you find something you love to do and then you turn it into an unhealthy passion or work, it's just like anything else. It's just work, and I don't mean to sound like that because it sounds real douchey. Because a lot of people...
Well, see, I think we had this conversation that, being on the road racing 6, 12 weeks every single day is one thing if you're racing. But from a spectator standpoint, it's a little bit different, I think.
Well, let me just tell you this. I was gone so long, and if you're friends with me on Facebook, you're privy to this information, you've probably seen the actual... But I was gone so much this past 2 months that my daughter Emmy actually sent me a letter to Florida.
Wow.
Yeah, that right there, I was like, I said
that's kind of pegging the away from home meter.
Yeah, and even Brandy at one point in the midst of the last week said, and I quote, "All right, I'm sick of this shit. Come home."
Sick of it. Well, anyway, give us like a quick. What's your 30-second breakdown of how was the racing? What was the fan turnout? What did you like? What did you not like?
First time to Volusia, I thought it was a facility. I give it an A. Fan turnout, I give it an A. Timeliness, as far as moving the show, and I don't know if it's the track or the sanctioning bodies that were there, but as far as timeliness, I mean they averaged an 11 o'clock time that they quit every week or every night, excuse me. Now, the World of Outlaws is going to be very exciting this year because Josh Richards is back.
And already some controversy stirring.
Already some well, and I don't know if it's as much controversy as it is. Sometimes, crying's a part of our sport, right?
Look, okay, let's just put it. The wannabe dirt track hero left his pit buddy behind. He had to walk away. Okay,
you're referring to the fact that so I'm going to get my nights confused here because when I left Volusia, I really didn't even know what day it was.
Let's clarify one thing first, though, Webb. There's only one dirt track hero.
There is only one dirt track hero.
Right. So anybody who wants to be the dirt track hero is just the wannabe.
I agree.
Whoever that might be.
I agree.
It could be anybody. So it could be anybody who wants to be the dirt track hero.
So let's pull the curtain back here. Early in the week, Josh Richards, he wins over to Ocala, and comes over and to Volusia, and him and Lanigan, it just seemed like that you could not separate them. They would be in the same heat. They'd be racing door to door. They'd even hot lap in the same group. They'd qualify in the same group. It was just they were right next to each other everywhere you looked. I don't know. I don't want to say just that Richards wrecked him a couple times.
And let's say, can we say that Richards drives a little harder than he does?
I will say that Richards looked like he was pressing the issue when it came to getting to the front, and I will say that more than a few.
Did he have a little bit of Kyle Larson? Does it look like I give a?
Actually, or it reminded me of our buddy Donnie O'Neill, and that pass at Florence. He leaned on a couple guys.
Sometimes it's short track racing.
Exactly.
That's what you do.
Where do you go if you don't want your cars to touch? You go drag racing.
Right.
Oh,
so plain and simple.
So anyway,
now I'm not saying that you drive in there and just demolish a guy, but you know what? Here's the thing. Let's say that if you want to drive in there and demolish a guy, you better be prepared to pay the consequences. But guess what? Here's a fact of today's racing, Webb, is that I would lay money on it. Here, we'll take Kyle Larson in the late model race on the short track at Daytona. Did you see that? Yeah. You seen him? That was a blatant, hey, guess what? I'm winning this race. I'm dumping you. Right?
Like a mofo, like a boss.
Right. But here's the thing. Kyle Larson will be able to do that over and over and over again. You know why?
Because he's little?
Because not one of those little pretty boys will ever stand up and knock his dick in the dirt. That's what I say. And I say that goes for about 75% of dirt late model racers, too. Not one of them will get out of their car and go knock somebody's head off for doing that. Now, carry on.
Well, maybe we should. We do have our first guest on the line real quick, but I'll finish up. We'll go back to this. But at one point during the week, the Club 29 hauler, which had been parked next to the Rocket House Car hauler all majority of the week, left the facility. And then
they're from Kentucky, Webb. They're supposed to be hard asses.
And then it came back and mysteriously was parked down by the gator pond So I don't know, but we'll go back to it. So that's what happened, and so for the rest of the week, the two factions weren't. I mean, I could have swore I saw Josh put a cone out and was saving that spot for Darryl to come back, but evidently. But anyway, on tonight's program, scheduled anyway, we're going to get Adam Stewart. He's the general manager of Green Valley Speedway. Bama Bash is next weekend. Finally, a hometown race for me. It couldn't have come at a better time. I'm a little road weary. Following Adam, about 20 after the hour, we should have the 2012 Bama Bash champion, Tim McCreadie. Tim McCreadie had a good showing down at Speed Weeks. Hopefully him and the Warrior have come to terms with each other, and he can challenge the Lanigan-Richards duo in World Outlaws. Following McCreadie, we'll have Bill Kitchens from Arklatex Speedway. He's the announcer and PR guy for that speedway. It's home to the Pelican 100, which is in 2 weeks. And he'll tell us all about that event. And then following Bill would be Jesse Stovall. He is the late model pilot out of Missouri who won the Arklatex Pelican 100 last year. So we'll have him on, talk to him. He actually won several races last year, probably had one of his better seasons, and I think it all really started at the Pelican 100 last year. And without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome Adam Stewart from Green Valley Speedway to the program. Adam, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
So, okay, before we get to the particulars, I got a question to ask you about the event itself.
Okay.
It's a history lesson.
Yeah, it's a history lesson. Yeah, we gotta. I go to the message boards and I listen to and try to find whatever and read whatever. But anything that's going to have Green Valley in the title is going to catch my eye quicker than most things. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's being close by anyway.
It's my home track basically. If I had to call home track, it's my home track.
Yeah.
And a question was a guy had made a question about how many winners there were versus how many shows there's been, and this is the 16th annual Bama Bash. Is there a discrepancy on how many winners there is? And I know there's not 16 different winners, and we can get that part of that out of the way. There's not been 16 different winners. There's been a couple guys win two or three, but never. So where would the discrepancy lie if there is one?
Well, outside of people being from Alabama and having extra fingers and toes, the only thing I can figure is possibly before 2000, which was John Jones, which is as far back as we can actually track. There's speculation that there was a race ran that was considered the Bama Bash, but might not have been called the Bama Bash. So I think that may be where the numbers got off. And, of course, when Dennis took over there about 6 years ago, you go ahead, this year is the 16th annual, so that was the 10th annual, so we just pick up and haul butt from there. So as far as going back and looking in the history books, there's no press box that was there 15 years ago. There's no paperwork, which back in the day, if you got a piece of paper with who finished in the top three, you were lucky. So to answer that question, there may only be 13 champions, but that we can trace.
And it's not...
It's not something that's maliciously done, I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Oh, no, what I'm trying to do is clear up the fact that, a lot of people don't realize the poor management that was there before Mr. Harker took over. And no need in saying any names or whatever, but the fault could lie with them and not lie with Harker.
It could, and there's, somewhere in the mix, somebody come up, which for the drivers is a pretty good deal because the 16th annual $16,000 win. If it was actually the 13th or 14th, it'd be less money. So, I don't think they're going to squawk about it too much. They're going to be happy to see we're doing 16th,
I just thought it was...
As far as answering that question with 100% verification, it's going to be very hard to do that. You can track 13, you pick up, you take good faith going somewhere, and it's like people argue the Alabama National Championships. There's 15 of them, and I'm a die-hard Bama fan, and I'm going to believe there's 15 of them, and some of these barners across the state think there's 8 or 9 of them. So there's always things for debate.
For everybody out of state, barners are what Alabama fans that's what we call the Auburn fans, the barners. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was... Now, in this previous winners, and while we're on the subject here. I mean, and you got some heavy hitters. Dale McDowell's won it twice. Wendell Wallace, Rick Eckert in 2004, Clint Smith 3 times, Ray Cook back-to-back 2009 and 2010. And who would have ever believed that Ronnie Johnson won his first Bama Bass just 2 years ago in 2011? And I would have thought for sure he'd won at least one in the 16 years you guys have had it, or 14, whichever it may be. But isn't it shocking to think
and as dominant as he is when he comes there, and I've been going there since I was a kid. I remember I remember John Jones winning. So, but you know, as dominant as Johnson is, I couldn't believe he hadn't snuck in one of those Bama Bass titles in there. But you know, as far as what history books we got, he hadn't. So that was hard to believe that it took him that long to race one and get there, because he's won a bunch of other races there.
And then last year, Tim McCreadie, I mean, as big as name is, you know, one of the biggest names there is, and he's actually coming back. We know that for a fact.
Yeah, I believe he's pretty solid on coming back. After the way he ran last year, I mean, you know, and one thing, another thing a lot of people ask is, what's your pre-entry list, who pre-enters, who this. One thing I think a lot of people overlook, and you know this, you were down there, is when you go to East Bay and Volusia and Bubba for 3 weeks straight of racing pretty much, a lot of them don't know what they're going to have left to race the week after. So it's hard for those guys to, you know, confirm they're going to be there until this week. I mean, there's been several drivers that call, but you can look and see we've got about 20 pre-entries I'm pretty sure of. And then you can look at websites and stuff and people that call and say they're coming. But I don't like to put out a list and somebody not show up, and then that makes the racetrack and the race car driver look bad.
In the Harker's tenure, Dennis Harker's tenure there as the owner of the Speedway, the facility itself has several changes that's taken place, from, you know, upgrades in the buildings on site, the bathrooms, scale houses, whatnot. There was a track reconfiguration, about 5-6 years ago, I guess.
Yeah, they actually brought the back straightaway in about 90 feet there.
And for 2 or 3 years or whatever, 4 years ago, or however long it's been, we've had a lip back there and a shelf. Now you guys have put a new backstretch wall. What's the initial reaction by the drivers and by the fans of the wall being on the backstretch now?
Well, you know, we run open practice a couple of weeks ago on the 16th, and it definitely changes the complexion of the racetrack. The only complaint that I've had is the exit in the middle of the back straightaway. It is a little bit of an aggravation more than anything, but we'll address that. That's just something. But you look at all the racetracks all over the place. I think of Cleveland and Boyd's as close racetracks to us. They have a wall all the way around them, and they have a gate in the middle of the back straightaway. And actually at Cleveland, they close the gate and you don't get out. You've got to go to the infield. So that's just going to take a lot, especially on the local guys, getting used to. But the biggest thing that I hear is, in the past, you didn't know where the racetrack ended. When you went off of turn 2, I mean, you're hammered down because she tends to be a pretty fast racetrack, and you couldn't judge where the racetrack ended, and that would result in guys slipping over the shelf. He's hanging in the throttle. He comes back in the middle of the back straightaway. He clips a guy in the right rear, and he goes Dukes of Hazzard style off of turn 3. So that is the main problem that we had with not having a wall. Was there in turn 3, it was just dangerous. There's no other ifs, ands, or buts about it. That was just a dangerous spot, and I feel like not only is that going to solve the danger problem, but I think it's going to make the old racetrack a little better too, because it's not as forgiving off of turn 2. You're going to have to race each other different. Before, you could crowd a guy off. Now, you got to be mindful that there could be a guy up there and he's got nowhere to go now.
And turn 2 has always kind of been a pinchy area anyway. I remember when the first year we had the moved that backstretch in, it seemed like it paid better dividends to not have raced here a whole bunch, because those are the guys that were winning that first season. The guys that have been here forever kept hanging it off the edge there, and they'd be the ones up there looking to slide all the way down that backstretch shelf. Well, it's coming up this weekend. $16,016 to win. Talk to us through the event starting with Thursday.
Okay, on Thursday we do the open practice. That's optional. You can be there Thursday night. We'll open gates at noon on Thursday. We'll practice that evening 6 to 10. Then on Friday, March 1st, we're doing the same format we done last year. We'll have an afternoon session that will start at 12 noon. That will feature the local divisions. I hate for anybody to call them lower classes because there's no such thing as a lower class. You pay the same money to get in as that late model driver, so you're a local division. They'll run during the afternoon they'll start at noon. That'll be your Cajun Mini Stock, your Pure Pony, your Outlaw Thunder, and Street Stock cars. Then, one thing where they made the change several years ago that I think helped the racing at the racetrack for the Bama Bash was we'll prep the racetrack and we do all the late model stuff at night. As most people know, nighttime racing produces more side-by-side racing for the late model cars. So that'll be done at night. Then on Friday night after the races, we're going to have the tent party again. That's going to be set up by the shop. We got a live band coming. We're going to have food catered, so everybody's invited to stay for that. Last year I made the band go home at 5 o'clock in the morning, so always a big time there. Then on Saturday, again, we'll do the noon session. We'll do the features and contests for the local division. Then we'll have a driver's autograph session, 3:30 to 4:30. And then evening session, 5:15 drivers meeting, and we'll start contests and features at 6 o'clock.
Well, it's Bama Bash, especially the last few years, has been pretty exciting. We got Tim McCreadie. He's on hold. He's going to come on and talk to us about the event last year that he actually won. But before we let you get out of here, a lot of talk over the offseason about the schedule for the year at Green Valley Speedway. GreenValleySpeedway.com. You guys click on the schedule. It looks like you guys have a pretty healthy schedule, more so than what I thought, because there was lots of talk about only a few races this year, but it looks like you guys have some big events. So real quick, give us an overview of the schedule.
Okay. Of course, we've scaled back a little bit on the schedule, but it's like I tell everybody, last year we had 6 races scheduled at the Bama Bash. We added some more, so as things progress, things could always change, but we're going to do the Crate Nationals race, 5,000-man crate, and Limited Sportsman. That'll be coming up in actually just 3 weeks after the Bama Bash on the 28th through the 30th. We got Fan Appreciation Night. Worked really well for us last year. We do like $15 a carload, and people pile in there and come have a big time at the races. Of course, our July 6th, fireworks and racing. You won't find a better fireworks show anywhere in this part of the world anyway. And 2,000-win crate Sportsman, we'll do a 100-lap enduro race. Summer Shootout, the Southern All-Stars come back on September 7th for the Crimson and White 50, 5,000 to win on that. We got the David Hare Memorial Race, and that's another thing that we're tweaking that a little bit. It says 10,000 to win on our website, but we're changing that. We're going to give the fans a little bang for their buck. We're going to do triple late model features that night, 3 2,000-win late model features, take full 24 places on each feature. Then we're going to do double features in the Crate and Sportsman, 1,000 to win each. So actually you'll see 7 late model features that night. It's going to be mainly only late model cars. We're not going to run you to death all night with 8 or 10 classes. So a lot of stuff going to happen there at the David Hare race. We're going to get that out there. Should be changing that actually tonight. So the races we do have, I think, are going to be good, and they're always subject to change. You never know what will come along. We may add another one or two. So stay at our website, greenvalleyspeedway.com. You'll be able to check it all out throughout the year.
Well, Adam, thanks for taking time out of your Monday evening to talk to us. And, of course, I'll see you this weekend, and appreciate what you guys do out there. And plus your work you've done at Talladega, so you're a very important part of the racing community here in Northeast Alabama. So appreciate that, and I'll see you this weekend.
All right, thanks, Webb. Y'all do a good job, and we appreciate you having us on the show. We'll see you this weekend.
Anytime, Adam. Adam Stewart,
okay.
General Manager over at Green Valley Speedway. Known that dude for, well, at least 3 or 4 years now.
Now, Webb, did he not sound? Have you heard the kid with the coonskin hat?
Oh, I don't know where that's coming from. No, maybe I haven't, Brian. Who is it?
You need to search that. Just search coonskin hat on YouTube. And I'm telling you, that part where he says "dig in sideways," I thought he was him for a second.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. The guy he's actually from South Alabama. The one talking about the police chase he witnessed.
Yep, that's it.
No, yeah. Adam's a little bit more refined, I promise you.
Well, I'm sure that he is. I'm just saying at that one point I was lost for a second. I was like, hold on, I've heard this guy before. I'm not making fun of guests, Webb.
Oh, I know you're not.
What are you doing, using the bathroom?
No, actually, I just walked away from I was taking a drink of my Dr. Pepper.
Ah, okay.
Well, let's welcome to the program driver of the 39 Warrior Sweeteners Plus late model, Tim McCreadie. Tim, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Man, first, before we start talking about too much of you guys' good rundown in Speed Weeks, man, talk to us about that hit you took leaving the Speedway there at North Florida.
Well, it's just probably a little bit of, I think it was a little bit of track prep that might not have been there, and then driver failure to realize it, and I pulled out and just got in the flame on the front stretch, but the turns 3 and 4 and all the way off of 3 and 4 were so tacky you couldn't spin a tire, and for me we'd struggled a little bit over at Screven, so I was just probably trying to get more than what I should have been that early in the night, and then as I started to go down on the corner I got in the slime, and of course the car started to turn, but it was not on the skid plate so bad that it was probably going to go straight, and figured my best shot was to try to go up pit road, and unfortunately for us, there was another Jersey barrier there that I got into, and it was a bad deal. It kind of put a exclamation point on the first 3 nights racing down there, but it's the way it goes. In the long run, it was probably better that I hit that wall, because if I made it through there was a lot of people in the pit area that might have been in some serious trouble. So we'll fix the car, and I'm feeling a lot better than I did 2 weeks ago. So everything's good.
And in the not so distant past, you had suffered a back injury. I mean, when do you have anything nagging that's left over from that injury that maybe something like that would re-aggravate, or how's the back when it comes to taking licks like that now?
I mean, my back reminds me about every day one way or another that it isn't what it should be. So it is what it is, and you just move on. I mean, I'm not the only guy that's ever had problems, whether it's business related for the people that work real jobs, or I mean, I consider my job real, but you know what I mean, that are lugging concrete or working hard, and you know, you just move on. You try not to worry about it and try to just stay in shape, and just like anything, it is what it is, and my back's always bothering me.
Now, you guys had 11 starts down there in Speed Weeks. You had 5. Let's see here. Had your stuff up. I switched it. But anyway, you guys did really well down there. Picked up a win over at Volusia, and the particular race you won at Volusia, you had Lanigan and Moyer breathing down your neck. Talk to us about that last 5 laps.
Oh, I mean, it was, like I said, the week started off, Scrubbing was bad, and then when we moved to Ocala, we had a runner up there and a third, and the last night we were off a little, but it gave us a little bit of hope moving into Volusia, and Volusia went really well. I mean, I think we were in 5th the first night, and then the next night we were a little bit off, but to win when the big money came on the line, we were great, and the Sweeters Plus car and everybody that works on it, I just thanked them. It was a team effort, and with hand signals and stuff, and it's amazing how crew guys, when it gets tight like that, you can see by the looks in their eyes when they're motioning you that it's a lot closer than you really think it is. I was just trying to cover every lane, which probably slowed me down more than I needed to, and in the last lap, I just kind of went in there both corners and made the 2 worst laps I'd made all night long. So we got lucky, because Lanigan would have beat us if it was another 5-foot Lanigan would have beat us. If it was another 10-foot Moyer I would have run third. So it's one of those deals. We'll take it, and the rest of the week went fairly smooth, and I wish Saturday would have went better than where we ended up, but it was a great race with us up there, and the track was beautiful that night, so we'll take all the positives of it and move on to this weekend.
And, okay, speaking of this weekend, last year the 2 seasons now are starting to mirror each other, especially at the same time of the year. You guys did pretty good last year. You picked up the win up at Green Valley at the Bama Bash. You know, the Warrior was still kind of new to you guys. You didn't have a season, obviously, last year that you guys wanted to have. Heading into this season, I mean, how much more optimism with the new car or with the Warrior do you guys have for 2013?
I'm optimistic. I mean, granted, if you look at the way things go, and you don't really pay attention to how I race, say I race, I got a little bit of a lot of my dad in me, and when things are going bad, I know sometimes it doesn't make sense in points chases because it hurts you, but when things are going bad, you're going to be 15th or 16th or 17th, and you're out there, and and maybe Jimmy Owens or somebody like that's coming along to try to win $50,000, I just will not be out there because I pride myself on trying to run good, and I know that it doesn't sound right to a lot of people, but I'll live to fight another day because the equipment will be fresher. So a lot of them runs that people thought were bad was me just calling it off, where we could have run maybe anywhere from 15th to 11th if people fell out or whatnot. But on the whole, our season last year, I mean, we won 8 races, and it's pretty simple to look back and not see an 8-win season out of me in at least 3 to 4 years. So the car has a ton of potential. I've always said that, and everybody at Warrior has been 100% committed to try to make me better. And a lot of it is on our end as a race team. We don't always know what to do to help them, and they haven't ventured out like this in a while, and they're doing that more, and we're learning how to communicate a lot better. So I think, like I said the first time when I did it, it's one of those deals where it is what you want out of it. If we want to stick with it and make it work, it's going to work. If we want to just try to bounce around and I guess not have ride a ship with no captain, then we're going to keep doing what we're doing. But I'm excited for Sanford and everybody at Warrior, and so far it's been better. We started better this year than we did last year, so I'm really excited.
Well, just to let you know, you guys were one of the smoothest cars, it seemed like, and just really liked what the racetrack was giving you guys most nights there at Volusia. That's the nights I got to see you. But let me ask you this. With the World of Outlaws, last year it just seemed like it was a runaway train for Lanigan. I mean, it was just, he won everything nearly. What kind of season do you expect now that Josh is back, and just what you, Josh, and him are obviously the front runners for the World of Outlaws? I mean, one, it's got to be more fun to have more competition, but what is your outlook on the season having Josh Richards back in the fold?
Well, I mean, it just makes it tougher, and we all thrive on competition, but we also got to try to make money for ourselves to live at the end of the year. And there's no doubt that Josh Richards is a very talented driver, but above and beyond that is he probably has the best race team in the country when it comes to help that comes on the road, a factory behind him, a motor program behind him, and just capital to operate. I mean, I don't know if there is a better one than what he's got. So then he had a little bit of a talented driver. He had a real talented driver on top of that. It makes for a tough combination. I mean, Darrell Lanigan's as talented as they come, but he doesn't have a factory that's 5 minutes away from the shop as you walk down to be able to fix any of the problems he had. So it's tough. It makes it tough no matter who drove the Rocket House car. So it's just one of those deals. You just go out and you try to run as hard as you can and let everything fall in May. I mean, Shane Clanton's running really good right now, and you never know what can happen. We dug ourselves a hole because of the first 2 shows, and hopefully these guys can pay us back later in the year to get us back in it.
Well, moving forward to this weekend, last subject we'll touch on, you guys pick up the big victory at the Bama Bash in 2012. Now this year, coming in, it's going to be a new racetrack. They got a wall on the backstretch. What do you remember from last year about the Speedway? And when you hear that they make changes like that, how does it change your game plan? Do you have to throw the notebook out and just see what it gives you on practice night?
Yeah, I mean, I believe it's funny because I was talking with Gary Wenger from Integra, and we've been talking a lot and doing some things, and even Sanford. Our notebook, unfortunately, we threw a lot of it out, not because the cars were no good, just because when we got on a program, things have changed just in the last winter, and we're learning so much more, and I'm learning so much more to what to give this car to make me happy. And our notebook, I believe, our real notebook that we can go back to, I think started this last couple of weeks out in Ocala and then again in Volusia. So we'll go to practice tonight. We got a lot of things we want to try, and hopefully we can get on the track enough. And as far as changes, it's one of those things. I honestly didn't know they made changes. The track was good last year. It just was a little wet on the bottom where you couldn't get down in there and use a lot of it because, I don't know why, whether it was track prep or whatever. I try not to critique track prep because I've not many promoters come over and critique my racing ability or my race team, so I try to stay out of that. If they ask me a question, I give my opinion, but we're going to go there and load it for bear and hopefully try to make some money. It's a neat little race, and last time I went there it was different, and this last year it was different, so I guess the 3 times I've run here, it'll be different every time. So we'll give it our best shot. Hopefully, try to make some money.
All right, Tim's coming off 11 feature starts down in the Speed Weeks, 5 top 5s and 4 preliminary wins. Looking forward. Good luck, Tim. Thank you for joining us on the program. And before we let you get out here, thank some of them sponsors and crew members.
Yeah, it's always I got a lot of product sponsors that could go on and on, but Pro Power Motors and Attacker Shocks and Hoosier Tires and definitely Warrior Chassis and most probably the biggest sponsor is Sweeteners Plus. Without Ann and Carl Myers, I wouldn't be able to do this. And Vic Coffee, it's a big family. So hopefully we can keep it going. Vic's with us, and he's never been there, so he's excited. And like I said, we're going to take this Sweeteners team. Hopefully, one of us can come home with the big money.
All right. Well, this is the Bama Bash is my hometown track, so I'll see you this weekend. And good luck, brother. Be safe getting here.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having us.
All right, Tim McCreadie, driver of the 39 Warrior House Car, Sweeteners Plus sponsor, not House Car, excuse me, Warriors race car. Ooh, I thought David.
Hold on, He's not. He was drive. What? No, he never did drive the house car, did he?
He drove the house car like one time, I think, down in East Bay.
And then they just ended up going, I guess, working out a deal with the guys at Goddard. Then.
Well, who's in it now? Isn't Scott Davies in there or something now? Or what's
they have a lot of different people in that car. They kind of come and go.
Scott James.
I don't know.
Scott James. I'm sorry, Davies. I don't know why I said Davies. Scott James is in the one.
Yeah, that is right. Scott James, I think, drove.
He's been in it all 3 weeks. He's got 10.
Also, he's been.
Yeah. Actually,
wow.
He hasn't done bad. 10 starts. Also, thank you to Dirt on Dirt too. I'm using your Georgia, Florida Speed Weeks. DirtOnDirt.com. You can go to their Speed Weeks, Georgia, Florida Speed Weeks stats, recap, and roster, and you can look up your favorite driver and see what he did for the entire Speed Weeks. That's where I'm getting my information. I will not take credit for that. That's Josh Joyner and Todd Turner compiling this list. But Scott James, yes, he has 10 starts down there in the Warrior House Car.
That shows just how much I'm out of the loop right now.
3 top 5s and 2 heat race wins down there. No, but Tim did look smooth. That race, that was an unbelievable race that he won. And, I mean, honestly, if you're in first place, it doesn't matter who's in first place. You got Moyer and Lanigan breathing down your neck for 10, 15 laps. I mean, it's bad enough you got 2 guys back there anyway, but let alone those 2 guys. Jesus. So he did, yeah, he did. And they really did look smooth down there the whole time, I thought. Pretty smooth. I don't think Saturday ended up like he said the way he wanted it, but that's cool. Vic Coffey's coming to Green Valley. Well, all right. Well,
I lost you for a second, Webb. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right. Let's just keep moving forward into the program. I need to text my buddy. Forgot to remind Stovall to call in.
See, slipping again. It's all right.
Well,
I already got it covered.
Got what covered?
Yeah, look. See, I've got him queued up here in the...
I see Bill's calling in. I'm getting to Bill just 1 second.
I got him in the green room. Is that what we call that?
Yeah, that's the green room.
That's the green room? And we put Mr. Stovall in the blue room.
All right, so that's Texas.
I'm sitting here... Look, I don't know. I'm lost.
Don't be lost. Okay.
I'm way out. I'm like catching up on some things.
It's wintertime. You let all the information kind of go in the wintertime, and then you.
Here, I got something. I didn't. Did you watch the Daytona 500?
I watched very little.
Okay.
I actually worked in the yard.
I just
Sunday
have to make a comment. I watched the national anthem. I watched them take the green flag, and I watched the first lap. But that's it. But here's how screwed up the media is that I've seen on multiple, even on my last night's news, they said that Danica Patrick led the first 3 laps of the race. But do you know who actually led the first lap of the race?
Jeff Gordon?
Yep, exactly. How many people you think are just like tired of hearing about Danica Patrick?
Well, listen, let me just tell you how great and wonderful that she's in there, she's doing it, whatever. I mean, I don't think that the gender barrier is as a mountain of an obstacle. I don't think it's that much of an obstacle because either you can drive or you can't drive. Right.
Yeah, that's really all it boils down to. And I think what it really boils down to is not that there are a lot of girls that can't drive and maybe a few that can. I think it's that just, females generally don't have that much of an interest in driving a race car.
I'd be more impressed if I turned on the ESPN and they were interviewing Brandy and she was on the pole for Daytona. That would shock me. I'm like, what the hell? I should be the one on the pole for Daytona, not my wife.
Right.
That would shock me. Danica's been racing for years. I mean, it's not. I mean, she's a racer. Who cares? Who cares? She's got a JJ.
It's aggravating, Webb.
It is.
Last night, I go and I wanted to find out who won the race, so I Googled it. I Googled Daytona 500 results, and all I could find was Danica does great in first Daytona 500. I thought she won the damn race by just looking at the search results. Yeah. I had to actually go on Facebook and ask somebody who won and to get a response, and that's when I found out that Jimmy Johnson won.
Wow. And
I did not find out from any other news source that Jimmy Johnson won the Daytona 500. I found it out by asking somebody on Facebook that watched it.
And we'll put this one to bed just with this comment. I did see some highlights on ESPN today, and they were talking about Johnson, him winning it, and Hendricks being one. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of this highlight of Jimmy Johnson, a mysterious 10-second Danica Patrick comment about herself. It had nothing to do with Jimmy Johnson. I was like, where the hell did that come from? Did they just want to throw it in there because, well, it was like literally Jimmy Johnson. Hey, I'm Danica Patrick. Jimmy Johnson. I was like, what was that? And I edit highlights.
I will bet. Listen, I didn't watch the end of the race, but I bet in Victory Lane, I bet they did not even go to Victory Lane first. They did like a 5-minute Danica Patrick interview before they went to Victory Lane.
I edit highlights for a living, Brian, right? That's what I do. I mean, Dirt on Dirt.
That's your job.
That's my job. Dirt on Dirt is ESPN, and you can draw comparisons. If I would send Michael Rigsby Bama Bash highlights, and in the middle, somebody taking the lead in a Neesmith race, he wouldn't use me. He would say, "Webb, what is this? This is garb." Hey, garb is what the kids are saying. It's short for garbage. I learned that from Derek Kessinger, D Suave. But he would say this is garbage and not use me. So anyway, yeah, I got a little bit of a Danica Patrick. I don't know. I'm sick of it. But anyway, let's keep our next guest.
I'm Danica Patrick, and I just finished 8th place in Daytona 500. I did better than Jimmy Johnson.
I'm going to Disney World. Danica,
how good did you do, Jimmy Johnson, in that race?
Oh, I'm Danica. I did it all myself. I'm number one. It's Danicar now.
Danicar. Because Danica Patrick.
Danicar.
Okay. Well, I didn't know we was going to have Danica on.
I figured I would let her out of the closet.
So she's part of the BGR Army?
She's short enough to fit in a box, I'll tell you that much.
Let's welcome to the program the announcer and PR guy from Arklatex Speedway over near Shreveport, Louisiana. Bill, you with us?
Hey, Webb, I'm here.
Bill, that's why Danica will never win a short track race. She's too small, no left side weight. Not that she's.
She did have a hard time with that late model up at Eldora last year, didn't she?
Yeah, and you know what? For the record, John Henry did really good in that car at Eldora, so she can't complain about the car. I don't know.
No, she. I don't think she had a whole lot of dirt track laps. It's amazing to watch some of those guys though, like Kyle Busch and some of them other ones that didn't really have a whole lot of dirt experience. There's of course the dirt guys, Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards, guys that came up on dirt tracks, Clint Boyer, Kenny Wallace. But Kyle Busch, as far as I know, was asphalt, the whole time coming up, drove the little dwarf cars and all that stuff, and then getting a dirt late model up there at Eldora and win a race in the thing. It just shows you how much talent some of those guys really do have, so.
That is, without a doubt, Kyle Busch is a race car driver. He's a racer. And that's where I think the division comes between a race driver and somebody who's taught to drive a path around a track that never changes. On dirt, the racetrack is constantly changing, so you have to actually use some intelligence and some skill to get around the track.
Jimmy Johnson, I think. Did he win the last one? I know they're not going to have it this year, but didn't Jimmy win? I think he won it. Did he win it last year, or did he won one of the recent ones anyway? But he's never driven a dirt late model either, but he did do them off-road stuff out there in California before he went asphalt racing. So, yeah, you're right. You're right, Webb. So what's up? You enjoy Florida?
Well, that was Brian Gray, the co-host you're talking to.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brian. I'm listening to you guys on the phone instead of my good internet speakers up here. So, so that was Brian the entire time.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Brian.
I pretty much just overran the whole thing.
You guys sound a lot alike on the phone, believe it or not.
There it is.
Just so you know.
Oh, Mr. Kitchen.
Nah, you don't sound. There's a new voice there. Go ahead.
So Bill, you guys have a.
Want me to use my dirty voice, Webb?
No, don't use your dirty voice.
Is that your day job? I didn't know that.
Give me a beer.
Oh, he's got a toy.
Yeah,
you found him a toy up there, huh?
No, those are my friends. They're just hanging out here in the studio.
Oh, okay. All right. That's pretty neat.
He's got multiple personalities, Bill.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. That's different.
So you guys have a
professional.
You have the Architects Crown Jewel coming up in the Pelican 100. Tell us a little bit about the event.
Third annual race. We've been extremely pleased with our turnout, and the race itself has just been awesome. I mean, people around Louisiana have been kind of clamoring for a big race at Architects before we started this deal a couple of years ago. And, and it was always, of course, our promoter's Gene Boyder, and one of the most common questions is when's Gene going to have a late model race? And we kind of big modified territory over here, and we have a lot of late model fans in the state, and they wanted it, and Gene wanted to do it. It just took a couple of years to get it all together, and fortunately, Raymond and Kathy Childress with Childress Rentals out of Houghton, Louisiana, and Wayman McMillan with P&W Sales, new title sponsor this year for the Super Series. Wayman stepped up, and both of them backed the show, and we started off with two really good sponsors, and we've had some other sponsors come in, secondary sponsors come in and help us as well, and gave Gene enough confidence to go ahead and put the show out there. 10,000 to win, 100-lap race. Pretty rare in this part of the country these days.
Yeah, and last year you guys had a little difficulty with the weather, didn't you?
It killed us. Yeah, it really did. And we were scheduled for the same weekend we're scheduled this year, March 8th, and for second full weekend of March, I guess, since the first and second. Since the first falls on a Friday this year, but anyway, second full weekend of March, and we got hammered with rain last year, and we really wanted, we would have loved to gotten it in, even if we did a one-day 10,000 to win show on Sunday on the original weekend. That was the plan, but Mother Nature had other ideas, so and the sponsors didn't want to let it go. They wanted to run it, and so we'd come back the very next weekend and try to run it, and it kind of caused some conflicts here and there, and we didn't get as big a car count as we had the first year, but we had just about as many people show up and watch the race, and then we got blessed with a really good race. Anyway, we had two. Webb, you were there. You filmed it.
Yeah.
I mean, they got some great footage for us, and the first year was just as good. In fact, there's never been a bad late model race at Architect Speedway. From the very first one they had through the Super Shows coming, the Comp Cams Super Dirt Series events, every one of them has been like that. It's just a really good track for late model racing, and other classes as well. But like I said, we've never had a bad late model show, and we were lucky. Our first two Pelican 100s, met expectations and then some. And now the problem is, we got the bar set pretty high. So how do you top that? But the fun part is you get to try. So
well, and unfortunately, as things go, I got a close family friend getting married the same weekend up in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
You mean an ex-close family friend, right?
Yeah. Well.
No, I know. I understand. And hey, life comes first. And I'm sure your friend's getting married once. If things go as according to plan, we'll have us another Pelican 100 next year. And we hope you get to make that one. Well,
see, they asked me like nearly a year ago to the day, so I was like, I'll clear the date and hopefully and I looked at what races were around the same time. I was like, man, I think I might catch a weekend off in there. And then I talked to you and you said, well, we're looking at this date, and I was like, oh no. But for people outside of the area there, describe the racetrack to everybody.
It's a wide quarter mile, kind of a little bit of dog leg at both ends at both straightaways. It's not what you'd call a paperclip type. It's more closer to a circle, but it does have straightaways. And it's wide. It's well banked. It's got good clay, and it's a slick track too. It'll slick up pretty quick, and it's progressively banked. So even when the moisture's gone out of the racetrack and it gets good and slick like that, and even shiny black sometimes, you still have 2 and 3 wide racing. It really is a fan's. The only, if there was a downside at all, is when it slicks off, you're going to get a little bit of dust in there. It's not going to be blinding dust. It's not going to hurt the racers, and it's not going to cover you with dirt or anything. But you might get a little sting in your eye once in a while. But that's when the track gets perfect. And the guys got to get out of the gas in the corners. They can run top, they can run bottom, they can run the middle. And if you're a dirt track fan, you'll love it. It's definitely worth the drive.
Just thinking back, we got Jesse Stovall on hold. He'll be coming on just as soon as we finish with you, Bill. But my memory, I remember Stovall and Ray Moore putting on a hell of a show there at the end. Also had the Intimidator in town. What's the lineup looking like? And I believe Jesse told me prior, I think last week, that he was coming. What's the lineup? Have you guys got any pre-entries that you know for sure?
We don't do pre-entries. We're kind of like Mooney Starr always used to say, I'll let you know when they pull through the gate. We have no idea for sure who's coming. Now, we got a good idea on some of them. We do expect Chris Wall, and this year Don O'Neill. Don O'Neill was supposed to come in last year, and the weather messed that up. So we expect them. We expect Morgan Bagley, and they all drive for our sponsors. Morgan. In fact, Morgan's got 2 top 5s in this race already. But I think the one guy everybody's probably pulling for this year is going to be Bub McCool. Bub, if there was ever a late model lap with one car on the track that actually had me white-knuckling whatever I was near, was watching Bub McCool time trial the first year when the track was real heavy and tacky we rained out practice the night before, and there's a lot of moisture in the track. You talk about a lap that got your attention. Bub McCool's time trial lap that first year, it's like, my goodness, I hope these cars slow down just a little bit when they all get on the racetrack, because he never lifted, I don't think. But he led, Ronnie Lee Hollingsworth, who's supposed to be coming back this year to the event as well, from what I understand, led a good part the first year, and Bub kind of took over, and it looked like for a while it was going to be Bub's race, and then Ray Moore started working the inside of the racetrack, and with about 2 laps to go, he caught and passed Bub, and maybe beat him by a car length after a 100-lap race. And so Bub ended up second. And last year, Jesse comes in. He surprised us because I hadn't heard that he was coming down, but drove into pits and looked down there at the end of the front row, and there's a 00 sitting down there. So we're glad to see him. And he had his victory circle tuned up good, and he got married to the bottom early in the race, and he liked it down there. And he ended up taking the lead, I think, around lap 5 from Duke Wiesen. And I always mispronounce Duke's name, and I hear about it later, but it's Wiesen. And anyway, Jesse led most of the race, and if you watch the tape that we've been circulating, watch the YouTube tape that we've been circulating around of last year's race, you'll see right at the end, here comes Bub through the middle of turns 3 and 4, taking one last stab at Jesse, trying to get the win on the final turn, and finish second again. So I guess if there's an early sentimental favorite to the event, it might be Bub, because he's run second now 2 years in a row, and he'd really like to win this thing. Of course, we got a neat trophy with a pelican on it, and it's one of the few times in your racing career we're getting the bird. It's a good thing. And Jesse's got one, Ray Moore's got one, and I'm sure Bub McCool would like to get one.
Well, all right, Bill, before we let you get out here, I want you to mention the website and also thank some of the sponsors that are going to help put on this 3rd annual Pelican 100.
All right, it's arclatechspeedway.com. You can get the times and the prices for everything. We're also on Facebook. You can look up Arclatech Speedway on Facebook, and we got lots of information there as well. The sponsors, of course, Childress Rentals out of Houghton, Louisiana, and Sales out of Kilgore, Texas. Couldn't do it without them. We appreciate both of them. Also, VP Plus late model fuel this year. I believe late model Plus will be available at the racetrack. And look forward to seeing everybody March 8th and 9th. Practice night, Thursday, March the 7th. Time trials and heat races, same format we did the first 2 years. Will be on Friday night, March the 8th. Saturday night, March 9th is your B-Mains and your 100-lap finale. 10,000 to win, 800 to start. And look forward to seeing everybody at Arclatech Speedway then.
Hey, Bill, do me a favor that weekend.
What's that?
Just text the ever-loving crap out of me to make me feel bad. Just let me know what was going on the whole time, because that was one event I had circled and I wanted to come back to, and maybe I'll be at the 4th annual.
Well, we hope you make it then, and you know, let's hope this year we have the race as scheduled, and you know what, you enjoy the wedding and come back see us in the 4th annual event.
All right, everybody, that's Bill Kitchens with Arclatech Speedway, home to the Pelican 100, the 3rd annual this year. Bill, we'll talk to you later, buddy.
Thanks, appreciate y'all.
Well, let's go ahead and bring the last guest on for the evening. Let's get rid of Bill here. Welcome to the program. Well, I meant on the board.
You killed Bill.
Welcome to the program. Speaking of the Pelican 100, the 2012 Pelican 100 champion, Jesse Stovall. Jesse, welcome to the program.
It's nice being on here. I'm glad you guys had me.
Not a problem, brother. We talked to you shortly after your win last year, so this is actually your 2nd time. He's a return. He's a veteran of the program now. But 2012 was pretty good. Talk to us about your season after the Pelican 100, because you guys went and made a lot of noise.
Yeah, you know, the season got rolling there. You know, we'd won the Stovall Bowl Classic, I think, the week or two before that, and we won some other good races. We ended up winning the championship, run second the other championship there. Mars won the Mars, it runs second MLRA, and you know, just had a really good year. I'm not sure. I think won 13 or 14 races, and you know, it was. I think finally I'm getting to where I can drive a late model. I don't know.
Well, now, do you have any ambition to, you know, run the World of Outlaws or run Lucas or anything like that, or are you guys just going to hit these, you know, big crown jewels like the Pelican 100?
Well, I mean, we'll do a lot with who I'm racing with. I mean, we'll do a lot of the crown jewels that are around home, and you know, get to come down there and race with them guys at Arclatech. You know, but the money, the traveling expense, and you know, it's a money thing. You know what I mean? If we had somebody come on board and say, "Hey, we want you to go race World Outlaws, Lucas Oil, whatever," it wouldn't really matter. I would love to, but you know, we probably have the cars and the motors, but the tires, the fuel, and the help is kind of where we're, you know, lacking, I guess. And you know, Al and Lori, Al Humphrey, Lori Humphrey, my car owners, they do everything and more for me. But, you know, it's just their resources, I guess, just don't go that far. And, you know, I'm not taking nothing away from them because I'm tickled to death to do what I do. But I think it's just, you know, we don't have the resources to be able to do that at this time. So hopefully someday maybe I could do that. I'd love to, but not right now.
Now, I can't remember because, of course, I've been home like 10 days all of 2013. I've been out. Now, you guys went to Arizona or no, you didn't?
Yes. Yeah, Arizona was not good to us. So hopefully this is not a bad sign of what we're going to do for the rest of the year. You know, we went to Arizona and we were going to have to go out to California, which is where Victor Circle cars are made, pick a new car up. And I told Alice if we're driving all the way to California, why don't we take a race car with us if we can somehow. So we took the car, loaded it up, took it out there with us, and basically the motor wasn't completely lapped out, but we figured we could take it out there and get it the rest of our laps out of it, and that way we could bring it home, freshen it up. But we went out there, and I think I ironed the track in for about an hour and a half, which wears me out there. But we ironed the track in, and then we went out there and took off for hot laps, and I made, I think I was starting in the middle of 3 and 4 there, went down in the middle, was coming off turn 2, and the front of the crank, the snout broke off the front of the crankshaft, which is something that's one of those things that happens now and then. It's not really a motor builder or anybody's fault. It's just, one of those bad deals, you know what I mean? And the crank manufacturer's helping us take care of it and all that. But, just think, because it was the first of, 5 nights out there, 6 nights. And we had to sit on the sidelines and watch the rest of the time.
I seem to remember. It was it was kind of up in the air whether you were coming or you weren't coming. You were going to be driving somebody else's car or your car. And I just couldn't remember. I think, yeah. So with that behind you guys, you got the Pelican coming up. I mean, this is where you're going to gain your traction. This is where you guys are going to maybe take home another bird.
Well, there's problems now. Well, we were supposed to race this coming weekend at Clarksville, Tennessee for the first Mars race, and I think they're going to cancel the schedule on top of the Pelican. So that's a problem.
Oh no! And that's the only thing that I hate about our sport is early spring races, or not really spring, but early races are always at the danger of getting rained out. But and the Pelican last year, it was a great race. It was a great field of cars. Could you imagine what it would have been like without the rain out they had the week before? So.
Right, yeah. I mean, I'm not. I don't know. I like cherry picking now and then, but I think it was. I mean, in all honesty, all the people that he named that didn't get to come, Don O'Neill, Riley Hollingsworth, Billy Moyer, or Big Billy, Little Billy was there, but Big Billy. I mean, there was probably 10 to 15 cars that would have been there the week before that weren't there. We slipped in there and got one, and that's I guess if you get your first big race like that, I mean, that was the first 100-lap race I ever won, first $10,000 I'd ever won in a race. So you got to get one somehow, some way, and I guess that's kind of the way I got it. I want someday to beat them all when they're all there, but and I think I can. But that's just one of those deals. I went and raced with the World Outlaws and some of them guys this year, and they made me mad, but I know I can run with them.
Now, most people know, listen to the show, and you may know once I remind you, I shoot video for Dirt on Dirt. I was at the event last year. Matter of fact, my shot of you standing on the car helped sell a lot of victory circles this year. But anyway,
yep.
I'm also a member of. I also get to vote in their top 25 poll. This year they got a whole panel of people inside the industry who are voting the top 25.
Right.
First, what are your thoughts on ranking drivers across the country? What will your thoughts be on that?
I can bet you if you set us all down, that top 25 means probably as much bragging rights as it does. To me, it did. I mean, the only thing that I was maybe a little bit, I don't know how to say this, but
you just say it however you want to.
They never did post like, okay, here's number 1 through 25. Like, for the last week when they ranked us all, I don't remember where I was at. I was in there. But I thought they said they were going to have a final countdown. And maybe that's what they did when they had a little write-up. But they never said, okay, our top, on Dirt, I don't know if Michael ever, maybe he just didn't, or maybe I missed it. But I looked for it a lot, and I've never seen a final ranking. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they have. Yeah, it's released our deadline to turn in our votes in this year is 5:00 today, so it'll be released tomorrow. So look for it on Tuesdays from now.
But I'm saying at the end of the year, when we got done in January, December, whenever it was, the last time they ranked anybody, was that it? I mean, I thought that they would have okay, it's all over and done now. Here are our top 25 for the year.
Yeah, after the World Finals, it was Jimmy Owens was the driver of the year for DirtOnDirt.com.
Okay.
But I was going to listen. I'm going to
still get ranked every week.
Yeah, every week.
Right.
It's fluid.
No, it's a challenge to make sure that you're in that top 25 every week.
Right.
So
And I think I stayed in it all but maybe like 2 weeks or something. So I was really excited about that, I guess, to say the least.
Well, you're in luck. I'm going to be, and it may change over the course of the year, but I'm gonna give away my picks every Monday night on the show. My votes. So
what he's saying, Jesse, is send presents to courtesy Webb Dillard, and it could increase your chances of being ranked higher.
That is not true. But I will divulge this to you. You've been in both of my polls. I've done two. I did a preseason, and you chimed in at 20.
All right.
So you're in both my polls for the first 2 votes. How about that?
Well, that's cool. Hopefully, I can back it up. That's all I can say. And I really, they're talking about canceling this race this weekend, and I was all pumped up because we were just going to come on down to Texas Motor Speedway, and I was just going to spend the week down there somewhere. But now he's talking like he's going to schedule it for the next weekend. So,
and I give extra points too for like kick-ass victory lane, like jumping on your hood. That stays fresh in my mind when I'm voting. I see you're on top of your car, your hands are up. I give eye candy points as far like football gets the style points. You get style points.
There you go.
For the victory lane. Yeah. So if you want to do like a backspin in victory lane or the moonwalk, I take that all into consideration. If you want to throw up the old Hulk Hogan, what you gonna do, brother? Play I'm a Real American in victory lane. That'd be all right. That'd be all right too. I'll consider that.
I say you pull a ghetto blaster out of the cockpit of the car, sit it on the roof, pop in, run DMC, and do something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, all right. Well, we've had our fun. Before we let you get out here, Jesse, good luck on the upcoming season 2013. Hope you guys have lots of success. Thank you for joining us again. But before we let you get out here, thank some of those sponsors that help keep that car in victory lane, man.
Well, I gotta thank Al and Lori Humphrey first. They're the main owners of this operation, and we've got a lot of people to help us too. Hendrick Cadillac Buick in Kansas City, Scott Bailey Racing Engines, Bell Helmets, Performance Bodies, Port City Racing. I know I'm going to forget somewhere. Hatcher Valley Auto Body. I'm trying to think. There's tons of people to help us out and get us to do this each and every week, and I can't do it without them. And people ask you, how do you get started in racing? Well, you got to find somebody. You got to have a lot of money, or you got to find somebody that's got a lot of money. It's just hard to do it on your own anymore, And I've been reluctant to be able to do this, and I just want to thank each and every person that's helped me along the way, and hopefully I can continue to have success and show everybody I can do it, and keep on doing what I live and love and dream.
All right, Jesse. Well, I appreciate you joining us here on In the Dirt, and we'll certainly we've got your phone number. We'll call you again. So pick up some victories.
I appreciate it. I'll do my best, and I want to wish them all. If I don't get to show up this weekend, which I'll do all I can. And I told Randy today that I would rather him schedule another weekend, but I want to wish them all good luck down there at Pelican. Hopefully, they've got 100 cars and 10,000 people in the stands. So, I think Gene's a heck of a guy, and that's a good racy racetrack. I've been down there once in a modified, and last year in a late model, and I wish them all luck, and hope everything turns out good for them.
All right,
Thank you guys.
We're just idiots with the open microphone, and so for whatever reason, people tune in every week, so we don't know.
Well,
they want to hear what you're going to say next, Webb.
We did use the term, or I did. I said JJ earlier. I don't know if you heard me.
I heard it.
We were talking about Danica Patrick, so I mean, you got to say JJ.
Danica Patrick's here.
Just had to throw that in there because you just have to put that in the middle of anytime you're doing an interview. Jesse Stovall, how was your win at the Pelican 100?
I'm Danica Patrick.
Oh, and you're the winner.
No, she got 8. But Jesse, let me ask you this question: as a guy, a driver that it seemed like last year we'd turn it on, we'd see Dirt on Dirt, you'd be on the front page, you'd pick up a win here. And press is hard to come by, especially in our sport. It's just not as covered as something like NASCAR. But what is your thoughts on how they're handling the PR and the press for Danica? Or do you have an opinion?
Let me be honest with you. I don't watch NASCAR. I don't watch football, basketball, baseball, or nothing. If it's not on dirt, I'm not interested.
Thank you, Mr. Stovall. That is the greatest answer in the history of motorsports.
There we go.
I wonder about what these other guys are doing with this football and basketball bull crap.
They all think I'm weird, but I mean, I watched maybe 3 laps of the Daytona 500 yesterday, and that NASCAR racing, there's a few of those drivers that are actually drivers, and you may disagree with me, but I think Carl Edwards, I think Jimmy Johnson, I think Tony Stewart, or some of the guys like that. There's 3 or 4 or 5 of them like that are they're race car drivers. The rest of them,
Kyle Busch.
No. I mean, Kyle's okay, but I don't know who I could pick out of there. But
I get it. They teach those guys, Webb, to follow a cone. They spray paint marks on the racetrack, and they say, here, drive this line, and just drive that line all the time, and you'll win.
Real quick, I read between the lines, Jesse, a minute ago, when he said Kyle Busch, and you said, no. Let me translate. I heard punk bitch. That's what I thought I heard. That's what I thought I heard.
They were trying to turn NASCAR into like a sitcom. You know what I mean? I think they ought to make. This deal they're going to do at Eldora is going to really bring them all out and see who the men and the boys are. And I think that in NASCAR they ought to go like on some of these when it's not a points race and go somewhere and make them run heat races and just qualify, run a heat race, then run B features and put 25 cars in the field. Quit having all these owner points and this points from last year and that points. They got just like the truck race. There's 4 spots that are available for people like Blomqvist and Warriors and whoever the dirt racing guys that want to get in that race. But the rest, the whole field's taken but 4 spots. So that's make them sack up and be men and actually earn what they're going to get instead of being little girls and driving around eating Doritos and drinking their Gatorade all day. That's pissing their pants. I just don't get it. I don't buy into it. And I've been there and seen it and had an opportunity. I backed out of it to run a truck one time.
Jesse, you know why you don't buy into it?
What's that?
I can tell you why you don't buy into it. Because you're a racer.
Yeah, I guess so. That's kind of the way I see it.
And
I wish that more people would listen to. See, you have just said, if I would have said what you just said, you know what would have happened? I would be berated by people. They would tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I am a frickin' idiot. No, and in most cases, I am a frickin' idiot. But I tell you one thing, I know about provisionals. Provisionals are a poison to short track racing or any kind of racing. There's no need for it. For one, no need. If you can't go to a race and you can't as a fan, if you can't be thankful that you got to see Scott Bloomquist get his ass beat in a heat race.
Wait a second. Be a dirt track hero with Okay.
Okay.
Right. Yeah,
exactly.
That's right.
If he can't race his way in, he doesn't deserve to be in. And it's not that he's not a good racer, but guess what? That means that on that day, some other guy was better, and that guy deserved to be in there.
Absolutely.
Every time you say Scott Bloomquist, we got to play that song. It's just kind of a rule. But I work for a guy named Mike Vaughn in the Neesmith series also. I'm their media director. And you just said verbatim what he said about NASCAR. He said, I'll fix NASCAR, give me Richmond, and I'll give you, 4 heat races, B-mains, hooligans, last chance, and I'll send the people home happy to be a race fan instead of trying to sell them garbage.
But
Right,
see,
and
and now it's over. It's over, Webb, because they don't even have the cars that people don't build those cars. They don't buy the cars. They don't do any of that anymore. They only have their select group, and that's it.
That's right.
And here's a question I got: is if NASCAR is such real racing, tell me why they need riders.
Right. Yep, that's right.
Explain that, Webb. You're in the entertainment industry. What are riders used for?
Well, I mean, if you look at it from like say wrestling, riders ride all that garbage. So
when you hear them, they're telling you right now, this is entertainment. We need we support our sponsors. Then the writers are to write the scripted storyline that they play out for you every single week.
Right. And I've been around Jimmy Johnson at Preludes and stuff like that. He's a heck of a nice guy, and he's a legitimate racer. But I'm not too sure that the story wasn't written for somebody to win 5 championships. Every now and then they've got to, if they're writing a story, you've got to have a hero. You know what I mean?
He's won 5 in 10 years.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And you have to, or 5 in a row. You know what I mean? They had to have that. That's part of the story. He's the Superman of the sport right now. But back in the day when they actually let him do it, people like Dale Earnhardt and stuff, those guys were actual true heroes. Jimmy might be a true hero, but without Chad Knaus, what would Jimmy Johnson be? So
yes, I want to see that. I want to see Knaus go to. I'm not a Junior fan, and I really don't care. But
what about that race last year when they had the big fight and they had like 30 camera angles?
Oh, that was stupid. That was so staged. I'm a camera guy. I knew that was staged.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Boyer must have ran past like 14 security guards and 14 NASCAR officials, and they couldn't stop him. Hell, I could have tackled him at least one time. He turned. It was retarded.
Right.
NASCAR is. We had Dave Despain on the show about 2 months ago, and we asked.
Yeah, and that dude, he pulls no punches either.
No, he doesn't. And I said, we're down here in this. We're below. We're such beneath creatures to NASCAR. And we see a broken product. Are they a victim of thinking they're the only thing going in American motorsports? And Dave was like, "What an interesting question." And he said that they were a victim of their own arrogance. And that's what NASCAR is. If they would take more time in being a steward to this whole sport of stock car racing, whether it be dirt or asphalt, then they would get rid of those owners' points. Okay, totally get rid of the owners' points. Get rid of the provisional starting spots, and watch and look, and you will watch the cream rise through the muck of disgusting fake bull crap.
Right, you're right.
Well, we certainly.
That's it. And these series better get a clue too, like the Lucas and the World of Outlaws, because Lucas is getting worse and worse and worse about this, Webb. They have emergency provisional spots now for once the provisionals that they have written get filled up.
Right. Right.
Then they have their own emergency provisionals that adds positions or adds starting positions to the races.
Well,
I'd like to see them start 30, 35 cars regardless. I don't think they start enough.
Well, Jesse, we certainly didn't mean to keep you for this much longer. We broke into conversation, but I appreciate you joining us, and we'll never forget. We'll never solve all the problems of NASCRAP, as they call it. But so you're going to be at Clarksville for the toilet bowl?
Yes, I'll be at Clarksville for a toilet bowl. I just kind of have to, watch what I'm doing for the end of the year for money to live through the winter. These championships getting these poor ass drivers through the winter, and we gotta, you know what I'm saying. We just gotta watch our backs. So
that's right.
I would love to be there, and if anything happens where I can be there, I will be there. But at this point, I guess I can't guarantee it now. I was guaranteeing it until we had this cold weather, and that's kind of out of my hands. So, But we kind of got to do what we got to do.
Well, just for the great interview, I've moved you up 5 spots in the top 25.
Dude, Webb, I've got Jesse is my new favorite driver.
That's right. That's right.
And you know who used to be my favorite, Jesse? My top guy. My top guy was Darrell Lanigan.
Oh yeah.
But you just surpassed Lanigan.
Well, cool. I'm glad. That's neat.
I don't know if my endorsement will help your fan base much.
Right.
Well, good luck. Good luck moving forward in 2013, and we hope to have you back on the program real soon.
Okay, thank you very much.
Jesse Stovall, man, that was like he just like verbatim. Mike Vaughn and I had the same conversation about what NASCAR needs to do, and when he started talking, Mike Vaughn's going to hear the show and be like, "Get Jesse Stovall on the phone. We're going to have him come down to a Neesmith race." Get him on telephone.
And it was like he was reading my mind, Webb. Like every thought that I've had, he was just repeating.
I guarantee you, and Stovall is on the cusp. He's on the cusp of like being one of those national guys. But like you said, he's like, I got to watch my back. I got to do different things. I would say that if you would look and sit and talk to guys on the cusp of being national, that they're going to say a lot of the same things that he just said. And I mean, I think as we move forward in our sport, because the sport's going to stay here. It's going to be here.
As they move forward in the sport, they'll have responses like Tyler Reddick last week.
No, I don't think. No.
Because without a doubt, that kid he's driven everything. He's drove those ARCA cars. He's what? Let me tell you something.
I just don't.
That kid likes driving that late model a lot better.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Well,
I promise you.
Well, before we run out of time here, we got 7 minutes. Let me just do this is my vote for it's the first regular season poll for DirtOnDirt.com. Starting in it, and he had a big speed weeks. I thought he was going to pick his first big win up. Eric Wales comes into my top 25 at 25. Salt Rock Express is 24. Chris Madden at 23. Jackie Boggs.
Oh, no.
Whoa. Jackie Boggs is still at 22. Earl Pearson Jr. cracks the top 25 at 21. Stovall, Jesse Stovall, we just got done talking to him. He's at number 20. Jimmy Mars drops to number 19. Ray Cook, 18. Yeah, he did get a big win at Winchester. Jason Fager is at number 17. Shannon Babb, number 16. Tim McCreadie, number 15. Don't believe that he was in the top 25 last week, my preseason poll.
He took a big jump then.
Yeah. Blankenship at 14. Randy Weaver sticks around at number 13. Burkhoff at 12. 11, Dennis Erb. Billy Moyer. He picked up one win at Speed Weeks, but I'm just keeping him at number 10. I mean, a lot of people say he's not having problems, but I've seen just about all his races this year, except for maybe the ones at East Bay. If he was at East Bay, but I've seen him at
Patrick.
I saw him out west, and I saw him at Volusia, and I believe Billy Moyer's struggling this year. Number 9, Brian Shirley. Number 8, Mike Marlar. Number 7, Steve Francis, which he didn't have the greatest speed weeks, in my opinion. Number 6. Now, number 6, the top 6 is where we've had a big shuffle. I've had a big shuffle.
Big shuffle and a big debate.
This is my top 25. At number 6, last week he started the season at number 1. Jimmy Owens drops to number 6 in my poll. In my vote, Jimmy Owens is number 6. Number 5, Clanton. That's where he was. He didn't really show me what he showed me out west. And I think one night he was coming, but he just never made it to the front. But the Capitol still looks pretty good enough to keep him in the top 5. At number 4,
totally different surfaces too from out west and out in Florida.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, they're both sandy and rough on tires, but still, it's a completely different surface. The Volusia is almost like the gumbo that we talk about out at Greenville, Mississippi.
Okay.
Nearly the same. It's one thing. And I first stepped on the speedway, I was like, this shit's just like the gumbo out in Greenville. Anyway, so at number 4,
got a good mix of horse and cow manure.
Yeah, at number 4. Track hero with Scott Bloomquist, number 4. All right, at number
Rock on.
Rock on. At number 3, Don O'Neill. I believe he was number 2 last week. I believe that he was in my poll. Now, this is just Web Dealers votes. This is
just based on what you've seen in Speed Weeks.
At number 2, in the Club 29 race car, Dale Lanigan.
And that can only leave one guy for number 1 then.
That could only leave one guy for number 1. And who would you guess that would be?
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
It's going to be Josh Richards.
It is Josh. I believe Josh Richards is the number 1 driver in the country right now.
Number 1, Josh Richards. You are officially home. You got away from the dull and boring and strung out.
That's my poll.
Mid-pack, intermediate racing. Follow this line.
Real quick, 2 minutes.
Step on the gas.
I said Jackie Boggs, and he started yelling at me. Chris Madden, Eddie Carrier, you were yelling at me.
No, because Eddie Carrier by far above Chris Madden. You should never ever put Eddie Carrier.
I know
behind
the
Chris
T3G
Madden.
gang is going to be jumping my shit. Listen, it's a fluid season. These polls are
no. Let me
fluid.
tell you something. The Salt Rock Express is. He can't even be described with. I mean, have you ever really seen him like where he gets it hung out on the pack?
I've seen tons of races. That dude's a hell of a wheelman. But out of 300 guys in the country, I mean, he's 20 of, I believe, the 25 best right now.
I think Eddie Carrier Jr. He's top 10. I think that Eddie Carrier Jr. doesn't. I don't know if he can't. I know that they choose to race where they want to race, but I'm telling you, that dude right there. If somebody would just say, "Hey, I want to lose $1 million," they would win some races.
Approaching under a minute here soon. So real quick, I'm just going to go. Look at Eddie Carrier's stats from the week.
It was another drag it out. He
didn't have any top.
Throwback to Josh Richards last year when he was driving those paper cars.
As we approach 90 seconds, 0 top 5s, and he won 2 heat races and 11 starts. So, I mean, that's kind of why I put him where he was. Now, granted, Madden wasn't even in town. But, okay, he had 1 start at Waycross.
You just answered your own question.
But he at least had 1 top 5. He's got 1.
Eddie Carrier Jr. is by far better than Chris Madden ever could dream about being.
Probably so on any normal week, but not this.
Chris Madden isn't even the sweat off of Eddie Carrier Jr.'s butt.
Oh, gosh. But JJ and sweaty balls, we've covered the bases. Before we get out of here, I'd like to thank...
I didn't say balls. You said balls.
I thought you said sweaty balls. Okay.
It's the sweat off his backside.
Okay. Sweat off his ass. Okay. Before we get out of here, thanks to Adam Stewart from Green Valley Speedway for the Green Valley Bama Bash preview. Thanks to Tim McCreadie for coming on. He's the champion last year. He's looking to repeat it as champion of the Bama Bash. Thanks to Bill Kitchens of Arcotech Speedway, the Pelican 100 in 2 weeks. Thanks to Jesse Stovall becoming Brian Gray's favorite driver tonight. Other than that, Brian Gray, final thoughts, 10 seconds.
Jesse Stovall forever, Chris Madden never.
And for that, thank you guys. Sorry about last week, but we're back. We'll be here every Monday.